Hi there everybody, this is David, and I've just got to say, hell must have frozen over because the last couple of Idea Factory games that I've played lately have actually been good. And I'm not saying that, they've been good for Idea Factory games. I'm saying that they've actually genuinely really good games that I've had a ton of fun with. And now their latest entry, Ariana and the Elder Codex, makes me feel like I'm a kid again, back on the SNES playing one of those platformers that I did whenever I was a teenager. And today I do want to tell you all about it, and I definitely do things with a sub as you come and you join my party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your brand new hype. It helps me out a ton. And now, let me go ahead and dive right on into this fantastic game. So, at its heart, Ariana is a 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania, but there's also leveling mechanics, equipment, experience points, gems, and a whole bunch of storyline too. So to me, this here is the best of both worlds. You have these side-scrolling platforming elements, which is a whole lot of fun, as well as those RPG mechanics that I just love. It is the meeting of the worlds, and I'm here for it. And that's really kind of the tone of this whole experience. It's familiar, but it's also thoughtfully updated. The graphics are hand-drawn and absolutely gorgeous. It reminded me of Vanillaware games. Things like Odin Sphere and Unicorn Overlord. And it isn't very often that games can evoke a sense of childhood for me. I mean, of course, the Dragon Quest remakes do because, I played those as a kid, but this is a brand new game, and it's over here making me feel like a kid again. Games like this were all the rage back on the SNES and the NES, and I used to go there and rent them from Video Wonderland and play them throughout the weekend all the time with my brother. And this here took me straight on back to sitting on the floor in the loft in Ackworth, playing games like this. And a feeling like that is kind of priceless, actually. But if you think that this is just some sort of basic SNES game but then upgraded and released on modern consoles, that's not it. There's a whole lot more here. It features full voice acting with either English or Japanese voices, as well as 3 different difficulty levels that you can change at any time. So if something starts to feel a little bit too bullet helly for your taste, you don't have to Bruce force your way through it. You can just pop on into the menu, adjust the difficulty settings, and then just keep on moving on, and then adjust them back. I love that kind of respect for your time, and more importantly, your respect for your frustration, because I remember being very frustrated by some games like this back on the NES, and I wish that they had this back then, but now they do. So let's get into the story. About 1500 years ago, everybody in the world was granted magical powers. But these magical powers were stored in ancient codices in an ancient library. But recently, those 7 magical codices were vandalized, and the stories inside of them were altered, and as a result, magic disappeared from the world. And you're Ariana, a librarian, and the only person capable of physically entering these codices and finding out what's wrong, because you, for some reason, still have your magical powers. So you dive on into them, repair them, and then restore magic to the world 1 element and 1 spell at a time, while also trying to figure out who did this and why, and where your parents are and why they vanished. And as you move through these codices, you'll see these phantom vignettes of past events, and they'll give you hints on what happened, and it kind of reminded me of those vignettes in Valkyria Profile, which was a really neat little throwback to another 2D platformer that I really liked. Although that one had turn-based battles and it wasn't an action RPG, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Ariana. Here you can dash and you can dodge, you can inspect objects, jump around, and then seamlessly mix your physical attacks along with your magical spells. And at first, you just kind of start off with some basic spells. The more codices that you repair, the more spells that you'll learn. The fire magic shoots this kind of short-range fireball in front of you, but it hits hard and it hits multiple times. The wind magic buffs up your sword, and it fires like a wind beam that travels across the entire screen. Earth magic summons these 5 massive boulders that can erupt in front of and above you, absolutely just demolishing all the enemies around you. And then the water magic fills your area with bouncing bubbles, which hits constantly and just melts the enemies away. It was easily my favorite magical spell to use. On top of that, you've got healing spells, regeneration, your sword magic, and a wide variety of support and damage options. And you can equip up to 3 different spells at once, but you also have a sub-menu, so you can effectively really carry 6 spells total, which does encourage experimentation instead of just kind of locking you into one build. At the various rest points, you can swap your spells, saves, and equipped magical items, which is essentially the equipment and the accessories of the game. And as you fight, you'll gain experience points and level up just like in a traditional RPG. As you explore each codex, you'll find these little tears in the book, and it's your job to repair them. And you do so with kind of like a race against time whenever you go in there. You'll need to defeat all the enemies within the time limit and then destroy the altered core itself. And then afterwards, you're graded upon your performance, and the better that you do, the better rewards you receive. There's also these minor repairs that restore smaller percentages of the codex, and then major repairs that restore huge chunks of it, sometimes up to 50% of a codex at once, but most of the time that's, involves a huge boss fight. But it does really give you that sense of progression, that satisfying momentum that you need as you go through these codices and you learn new spells and new elemental magics. Thematically, it's this really cool idea that the Codex itself is fighting against you. It's kind of like, whenever you have a disease, and then your body fights against that disease. It releases antibodies against it, and you are essentially a foreign entity inside this Codex, inside its story, and the world of the Codex treats you like an infection. And that's why the monsters are there. They're kind of fighting against you. The Codex itself is trying to expel you, while you're simultaneously inside of it trying to fix it. But you're not just stuck inside these codexes the entire time, because you can also exit them into the real world, where you can explore the library and talk to the other librarians and try to figure out what exactly is going on here. And here in the library is really where the game opens up, and the whole thing becomes open-ended. And while you will always have to start with the Codex of Water, because that is the first opening stage, after you're done with that, you will be able to choose whichever codex you want to tackle next, and the game will just tell you, how difficult each codex is. So you could just kind of tackle the 4 elemental ones first, like the game wants you to, or you can go into the advanced codices. Nothing's really stopping you, unless you just want to get your ass kicked. It's completely up to you. Also here in the library, you can spend all the little gems and power-ups that you got in the stages. You can spend them on the magical items and equipment, or you can spend them to learn new magical spells. There's also a built-in achievement system, where you get bonuses and rewards based upon what you've accomplished in each codex, kind of like the reward system in the Trail series or even in Harvestella. It's a whole lot of fun, and it feels like a love letter to classic action RPGs without being stuck in the past itself. The combat is fast and fun, the magical system is addictive, the art is gorgeous, and the storyline is really intriguing. But not only that, there's also a free demo available. So honestly, if any of this sounds even remotely like your thing, just give it a try. It's free. It's an easy recommendation for me to make. And hey y'all, if you did enjoy this breakdown and this review, please be sure to level on up and join my party by subscribing. Hit that like button and let me know what you think of the game and if you're going to be getting it. I always love reading all your comments, so please do let me know, and as always, have a good day.